first Destro watch, or Lefty watch, was the Citizen NY0040. The Citizen is a super popular watch amongst enthusiasts because of its affordability and long history as a dive watch, which has been used by some military organizations in years past. And I tried to love it. But at the end of the day, having to reset the watch or set the time after the power reserve died was always a little too cumbersome as a right-handed person. I eventually gave it to my left-handed nephew, who loves it, and he wears it daily these days. Then Hassan at Horloscaphe offered to send me this orange left-handed NC003 a couple of months ago. I have reviewed two of his other NC003 models in the past. I reviewed the Diamante first, and I gave that one to my best friend of 40 years, and he wears it every day to this day. And then I got to review the Fluide oil-filled dive watch earlier this year, which I absolutely still love and I wear frequently, especially when I'm around the water. So when I received this orange dial three-hander, I told Hassan I wanted to spend an ample amount of time with the watch before reviewing it. And he gracefully agreed because he knows how important it is for me to deliver you a proper review after longer term use of a watch. Instead of a lot of reviewers who review watches just after a few days or a week of wearing it, I love putting my watches through the paces, and I'm sure you all watching can really appreciate that. Now, the Orange Dial NC003 has been my companion in the water, in the mountains, and even on the golf course. I even bought another watch with my own money to compare the difference in orange dials so you can see how well Horloscaphe did in choosing the best shade of orange possible, in my opinion. But for total transparency, this watch was sent to me. I don't have to return the watch, and Horloscaphe, they had no say in any part of this review. I've had this watch in my hand for a couple months now, so I think I'm ready to tell you how I really feel about this watch. Are you ready? Well, let's get to it. The thing that I found in the NC003 family of watches is the size and how much I love it. These watches are extremely slim and they are less than 40 millimeters in diameter, and they work great even on my 7¼ inch wrist. But what makes the watch and the orange Destro variant so amazing is that not only is it a perfect size, but with the crown on the left side and the watch being quartz, it sits on my wrist almost perfectly, and the crown doesn't obstruct into my wrist no matter what activities I'm doing. And I never have to worry about setting the time. The watch is powered by the Ronda 715 Li quartz movement, and it has a 10-year runtime. So in other words, I just have to replace the battery every decade or so. And that alone has made this watch very enjoyable for me. I can grab this watch and take it with me on any adventure at any time. But let's talk specifics of the case, because there are a few things on this watch that make it very desirable, at least to me. Obviously, the size coming in at 39 millimeters at the case, and the length between the lugs is 47 millimeters. The thickness of the watch is less than 12 millimeters, and I give it 11.5 millimeters in my own findings, which is very thin for a 200-meter dive watch. It weighs 79 grams on the rubber strap, and the lug distance is 20 millimeters. Now, speaking of the lugs, you can see that the watch has drilled lug holes, which is perfect because I love to wear this watch in the water while I'm doing water sports. And when you have drilled lug holes and the spring bars that fit directly into the case like this, the chances of a failure have been reduced dramatically at the lugs. So when I slip a NATO strap onto this watch, I know it's really secure to my wrist and I don't have to worry about it dropping 200 feet down into the bottom of a lake. And it's very comfortable and unintrusive on a NATO strap since the case is just so thin. Now, the watch itself is sold with different strap options. You can choose the Tropic straps. You can see here that the rubber is very high quality. It doesn't attract any lint, and it has the emblem engraved on the buckle. Although I've never seen their NATO style straps, I know that they have engraved the keeper, which is something you don't see from any other brand. I've worn this watch on some different straps, so take a look.
Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
The bezel of this watch is a 120 click unidirectional 60-minute timer with smaller hash marks from 0 to 30 to help time your dives, or making a bowl of rice, or whatever you prefer to use the timing bezel for. The bezel is stainless steel with a PVD finish. I have banged my Horloscaphe watches around, and I have yet to blemish the PVD coating on either one of my Horloscaphe watches. Now, the only lume that you're going to find on the bezel is at the 12 o'clock marker. Now, speaking of the lume, the dial itself has Super Luminova BGW9 on the numerals and at the indices, and the handset is evenly matched with the dial perfectly as far as the lume goes. One of the things I love about dive watches is they are extremely legible, and the NC003 is one of the most legible watches I've owned to this date. The 12, 3, 6, and 9 at the cardinal positions help you orientate the dial quickly in low light situations. And even though the dial is printed and the print is applied to the dial, it's tastefully done with the logo name of the company, model number, and at the bottom it says it's been assembled in France. As I mentioned earlier, the NC003 is powered by a quartz movement, which I've become increasingly more of a fan of in recent years. I mean, quartz movements over automatic movements is not what I preferred in the past, but there's something to be said about having a grab-and-go watch. The crown is a screw-down crown, and it proudly displays the Horloscaphe submarine logo. What's really cool on the case back is this unique engraving of a scuba diver. And you'll also notice that each one of these watches are numbered, which doesn't mean that it's a limited edition, it's just that you know which number you have in this run of watches. Mine is number 14. The case back also displays the model number, and it's made out of stainless steel with the Swiss movement, 200 meters of water resistance, and that it's proudly assembled in France. One of the things that I love about micro brands, and Horloscaphe in particular, is when you buy a watch directly from them, you're really supporting an independent watchmaker and his family. Hassin has been creating watches since 2017, yet most watch enthusiasts have never heard of this independent French watch brand. And he has made and designed watches specifically for EOD or explosive ordnance divers in France, dive construction companies, and also everyday divers. And you can tell every single watch that comes off his workbench is put together with care, with pride, and passion for an industry that he loves. And I love that, knowing that when I buy a micro brand from a watchmaker, I'm specifically supporting him and his passion. Even though I'm here today to review this very cool NC003 Destro watch, make sure you check out my other reviews of the oil-filled fluide and the automatic diatomy that I reviewed initially. You'll find both of those reviews right here. One of the other things that I did when I received this watch is I purchased a Seiko Orange Dial Samurai. Now, the reason why I did that is because I wanted to show you the difference in shades of orange in watches. Now, in my opinion, the historic watch brand that does the best orange dial dive watches is Doxa. Even though I've never owned one, one of my good friends, Bob, he has owned at least a dozen Doxa watches in his 40, 50 years of collecting. And I've always believed that they did the best orange dials. But you can see the difference in the Seiko Samurai. How the orange tone is much more subdued. And that makes a difference when you're underwater. Studies have shown that the deeper underwater you go, the orange is the most visible color when you're underwater. but it's the most vibrant orange that really stands out when you're diving. That's why Doxa historically used this very vibrant orange color. Horloscaphe has adopted the same bright orange, which is super rich and vibrant. And now that you've seen the difference, you will notice how striking the orange is on this Horloscaphe dial, compared to the Seiko. Now, personally, I think it's beautiful, and I prefer it over the dull orange color that you see on Seikos and other watch brands. But what do you think? Which orange would you prefer? The orange on the Horloscaphe or on the Seiko? Personally, I just absolutely love that deep and rich orange of the Horloscaphe. And I'll tell you, it gets a lot of attention from even non-watch people. I've had more comments on this watch than any other of my other watches that I own. Well, to sum things up for you, the NC003 family of watches from Horloscaphe, I think they are amazing. They are classic, no frills divers tool watches designed exactly the way most people would want. It's easy to wear, the size will almost fit any wrist, and the legibility of every Horloscaphe watch in their catalog, it's second to none. This watch in particular, being a Lefty watch with a quartz movement that has a decade of battery life, it's a perfect grab and go watch, at least for me. So whether it's on the lake, or a hike up the mountain, or on the golf course, it's always ready for an adventure. And for 349 euros, this watch is value packed. I'm really happy to have a couple of these watches in my collection now, and I'm excited to see what else comes from the workbench of Hassin at Horloscaphe in the future. And guys, if you made it this far, let me introduce myself. My name is Blake, and as you can tell, I'm a bit of a watchaholic, but I figure if you've made it this far in this video, you're a watchaholic too. So I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and I look forward to bringing you the next review, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.
What's up is down, what's left is right.